You do laugh. You do laugh.
What are we going to intro about?
Nothing. Let's just start talking.
Worst social media mistake you ever made.
No, let's just start
Social
talking.
media mistake?
We got Mallory here. We'll just talk about Mallory. We got her.
No, that's...
Mallory's on spring break.
Are we starting? I have to tell you what I posted pictures of in college. We had a dog. It wasn't a real dog. It was a stuffed animal.
This is something Mallory would do.
It was a stuffed animal dog. His name was Pedro. And we weren't allowed to own dogs in our... We weren't allowed to own dogs in our house, and so we were like, we'll get a fake dog. So we would take it outside. We'd take it to Real Games on a leash. We took it like tubing in the river. We took pictures of it. I posted pictures of Pedro on Facebook. I feel embarrassed about it now, a little bit. I'm like a little proud, but also embarrassed that I took pictures of him.
You were in college?
Yes, I was like 20.
Well,
Yeah.
y'all invented. This is the best one. They invented a fake band. What? Is this not recording?
Something is wrong. You're not.
Oh, my mic
not
isn't
on.
on.
Oh no,
Your
do we
mic
need to
isn't
start
on.
over?
I don't know.
Let's start over.
Who cares what I say? Like that, we're talking about nothing.
It picks him up now.
Let's
Okay.
start over.
No, I want to tell this. I want to tell your most embarrassing.
Well, let's go back. Can we run it back and start over
Backtrack?
again?
This is running it back.
No, but he wasn't talking.
I wasn't
any.
talking 90% of the time.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
telling
Go
you.
ahead. Go ahead.
We are very cool. We have insider.
Run it
lingo.
back.
We're gonna run it back. Can we riff a little bit? Let's riff, and then we'll run it back. No, Catherine invented a fake band for her friends called the Vandys, and they with bios and like all this stuff. And that's the thing. But here's the best thing: is she forgot the password to edit the site.
I have a website.
Like, you made a whole website?
There's a
And
website
a couple,
for it.
Wait,
a
can
couple
we
of her
find it?
friends,
I can't take it down because I don't have the
kinda
password.
like we're trying to apply for jobs, and they're like, "Hey, if somebody searches this, it's not because it's not 100% kosher." But anyway,
It's fine. It's appropriate. It's just funny.
they consider it not. But anyway, it is appropriate. It's not that. It's just like
We were called the Vandys.
the Vandys. Yeah. Anyway.
So can you still find the website?
Yes.
We should,
I think you can.
we
Here,
should
y'all talk. I'll
find it
bring it up. But
online.
we should.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
Forgot about
browse.
this.
We should
Ooh,
progress.
or should this be if someone comments in and asks a question or does something, they get the web
site?
address?
Oh,
Is
here-
that the
Don't give it
prize?
to everybody, okay?
Wait.
Don't give it to everybody.
No! Catherine. Oh my goodness.
nickname of Pebbles?
Okay, but
This is on the
in our
internet
defense,
forever.
we had a song. We wrote a song and we sang it.
Is it on here?
No.
Oh, man.
Anyway, Tigger
That
Oh
may be
my
my
goodness.
biggest
Shay.
online regret right there.
and Skittles.
I don't think you should regret that. That is so
Anyway,
Okay.
I'll send this
funny.
around. I'll send it
Okay,
around.
but the funny part of this is that
Couple
an
weeks
actual band came about that's a real band called the Vandys, and so they have lots of followers. So now people Google the Vandys band that's a real band. My college website comes up. Anyway,
Yeah.
that is my biggest regret. Good one.
That one is?
Yeah.
Very good. Glad I can be the holder of that for you.
Okay.
Not really. All right. Let's kind of start.
Mal?
Do you have a biggest regret? Socially.
Not social media, just socially.
I
Class in
don't even know
7th
which.
grade.
I'd have to sort through like a novel of them.
Yeah.
I feel like Instagram. I think it like just became a thing whenever I was in middle school, so that was tragic
Awesome.
for me. And
Seeing
I just
Mallory's brain on Instagram would be awesome, though.
it was bad. Yeah, it was bad. There's just I've deleted like a lot of stuff, but but like if you go through like my tagged photos on there, like it's just embarrassing. I don't know if I like did anything outright embarrassing, like I just did everything else that like a 7th grader in 2013 did, but it wasn't good.
I feel like
7th grade Mallory was special.
She was rough.
She was
Oh my
awesome.
goodness. She
I
was
feel like
so
Instagram
rough.
was created for crazy Mallory though. Like
Yeah.
if it had come
4th grade
out,
Crazy Mallory.
Yeah.
That's when like the filter thing was like really big too. So like I think.
Did you have all the kitty
Lots of
ears?
filter
I
bit.
have one like embarrassing thing that I
Tell
did.
it.
Okay, I don't know.
Now you're saying this online, just so you know.
Can
For
you guys
30
cut things
people.
out,
No,
or
we
no?
don't cut
Well,
anything
we
out.
can,
Y'all
but
don't cut
Andrew
anything
never
out?
does.
I think it's probably fine. It's probably fine. It was just something I think that
That
was
didn't
just
get
like
cut out.
maybe insensitive.
Oh,
My
maybe
first
we will. This will be our first edit.
first edit. We'll see. The first picture that I put, this made me like remember this. I think I, of course, like wanted to post a selfie, so I did that. But it was like right before my grandpa's funeral.
Oh.
So
You took a picture at like going into the funeral?
What was the caption?
I don't
Sad.
know. I
Sad.
don't know.
Mallory
No.
Warner is.
Mallory Warner is
Sad.
feeling sad. And I put like a rainbow filter on it. Like,
Okay.
tell me why I did that. Like, it was like colorful.
I could see that
Colorful,
as being
kind of
bigger
like
grip.
yellow.
At least you didn't take one.
I didn't mention.
Well,
when-
hey,
I mean,
when
somebody
you're in
just
your
died.
Sunday
Like,
best,
I didn't-
sometimes you got to take advantage.
I was like feeling myself with like my really crimped hair, I guess. So I was like, gotta show the world. I didn't mention that it was someone's funeral. It was just like a picture of my.
Oh, wow. That's
That
really
is really
good.
That is really, really good.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So what not
So-
I
to
regret
do?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that,
Social media, right there.
Yeah, that's kind of our topic for the
Yeah.
Segue into
Segue.
what to do
And-
to not
and-
end up.
And by the way, let's talk about who's with us today.
Catherine.
Catherine is here. Mm-mm.
Mallory is here.
How long is our intro this time?
Up.
Yeah.
wait,
So
shorter.
Mallory, one of our summer interns, and you didn't really get a real summer last summer.
Yeah.
That was kind of, because it was this aberration that we were not anticipating when we hired you. I don't even know how long before COVID hit that we hired you. And then we kept, like, there's that real weird kind of dance. We were like, I think we're going to do stuff. We're going to plan on you coming. I mean, we didn't even know in the early stages if church was going to stay
Yeah.
going. We didn't know anything.
Yeah.
But then your summer last summer looked very different than every other summer we've ever had.
Yeah. We spent most of the days up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And it helped a lot with food bank and did some other stuff. But
yeah.
she's in college up at CCU.
Whoop.
And
In
is
Colorado.
down.
And
For
she
spring
does a
break.
good job with. I feel like you do a good job of navigating social media.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank you.
that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I think Mallory's like
Yeah.
the perfect person to talk about
And
this.
kind of trying to do kind of the more practical end. So
Right.
last time we talked a little bit more conceptually, hey, here's some things that go on social media and here's some things to look for and trends to notice. But now kind of trying to get into the nuts and bolts of it.
What, talking about trends to notice and social media, it sounds like we're
Like what to wear.
Yeah,
like-
it sounds like we're on an E-News
Like,
TV
yeah.
show.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. It's like
Here's
some
what to look
trends.
for in April.
And yes, so they said bangs are making a comeback.
Not skinny jeans or side parts.
Yeah,
Apparently.
those are
Apparently.
so 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I wrote
But
some
yeah.
suggestions down, but I also want to hear in general, Mallory, what balance have you found with social media? Because I feel like you've navigated it pretty well at this point in
You were
college.
and we were talking a little bit earlier because you've been kind of on a journey with that. Obviously, middle school Mallory
Yeah.
would not have filtered much.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of thinking about what does that look like for you?
I kind of feel like, in some ways, I kind of feel like I got a little bit like lucky. So when like Instagram first kind of got super popular, it was like really different. I feel like than how it is now. So I didn't see. I feel like influencers is like a whole new thing
Yes.
that I didn't like really like in middle school and kind of towards the end of high school. I kind of feel like is when that took off. And so, yeah, with like managing social media now, I like recently deleted Twitter. There's just kind of, I kind of feel like when I've been on different social medias, I've had to look at like the overall tone of each one. And there is some that's just like hateful and like gets me fired up and gets me angry. And then it's just like, I got to take a step back from that. And like, I feel like the purpose of like me being on social media is being able to kind of follow up with like people that I might not see as much anymore. So that's what I try to like contain it down to, is in a way of keeping up with like people that I love instead of following a bunch of people and things that I don't even know.
Yeah.
So I kind of try to stay away from that. Just it doesn't really do anything for me. I don't know that. I don't know them.
And it can be anxiety provoking.
Yeah.
Just from everything I've experienced with that just popping up, in suggestions for you should follow, even if you click on these random strangers who are influencers and you try and compare your life to what you're seeing on their social media accounts, it causes a lot of anxiety for me as an adult. So I can't even imagine for middle and high schoolers how that must feel if you're following all these influencers. You're only seeing the best parts of their life, and then you're comparing it to the worst parts of your own life, and that's just it's not a good mental space to be in.
And it's entirely artificial. Like what influencers are putting out there, right? Because it's not relationship, right? It is not at all, I'm telling my friend about my day, or I'm discussing, I'm discussing what's on my heart or anything like that. And there are some worthy things that people can do that have a big following. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but what I am saying is the basic impetus behind all this is what will get me views, right? And if that's the motivation for some of these influencers, then again, like the people who are tuning in and who are saying, this is what I should look like, this is what I should be like, aren't even dealing with a real person,
right?
But just a presentation,
right?
That is designed to get followers.
Yeah, it's funny that we even call them influencers. Like that's kind of has turned into a high status label, but really all they are just more ads. Like like what you're saying, they're not even promoting or projecting an image of themselves, but more so just the shoes that they're selling that they're required to post, or the toothpaste that they're selling that they're required to post. Like they're still a spokesperson for this product, that product. So you're not even seeing a version of themselves, but it's just what this organization, this company, this product wants you to see. And I liked what you had said about how you use it really to keep up with other people that you don't see face to face, day to day, right?
Yeah.
And like you said with deleting Twitter, like I know I've never been on Twitter for me, but I know a bunch of my buddies go on and off from having it and then deleting it, having it, deleting it, because like you said, they see something and it riles them up, and that can feel good.
Yeah.
That can even feel productive. Like, oh, I'm seeing this injustice. I'm seeing this thing that I don't agree with. I'm seeing these people that are different from me, and I need to like build up my own self so that I can try and argue with or be against or be better than. But really all that, like you said, it's, you don't know these people.
Yeah.
You can't connect with these people. You're only connecting with this like weird sense of self-righteousness and lies.
Yeah.
And in kind of the scenario that Mallory's talking about of maintaining relationships, there's a pre-existing relationship there.
Yes.
That was caused by, so you graduated high school and not everybody goes to CCU, right? And so like some people that I love and care about, I want to continue a relationship across space and time. And so I'm going to be able, this is a preservation of something that we already did have, versus I've never known this person. I've never, met this person. I've never seen this person, but I want to be like them because they have a lot of followers.
Yeah.
And trying to not to denigrate anybody that's following anybody. I'm just saying that this is at its basic level. That's what's going on.
Yeah. I don't know. I just liked what you said earlier about kind of this whole false perception of connection, because I think that that's starting to bleed over into reality. And like I was telling you guys earlier today with like, I feel like I don't know, at least I feel like I'm living in a time where whenever I have conversations with people that are my age or like younger or anything like that, the conversation centers around the internet and what's happening on the internet and on social media, and this whole false like connection is now bleeding over into reality and like mirroring that in real life. And now in real life, our real connection is centered on what's happening on the internet with people that we don't even know. There's like no more emotional intimacy anymore. It's gone. I don't know if that makes any
Yeah, it
sense.
totally
No, it
does. You're
definitely
talking
does.
about shallow things that don't really matter, and that's what you're.
Yeah.
And also, we talked about this earlier, but I'm even finding with London. Sorry, excuse me. She's wanting to do these online games with her friends,
Yeah.
and we're not really for that yet. But she's kind of alienated and isolated if she chooses not to engage online with kids right now. And I think that happens on social media too. Like if you make the decision to not engage as much on social media or to not be on TikTok or whatever it is, the decision you make that is the mentally healthy decision for you, you are choosing to alienate yourself and isolate yourself in a lot of ways from your peers. And that feels like an unfair choice.
Yeah.
It feels like people are being forced to stay on social media because they have FOMO.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and that's just not right.
Well,
Yeah.
and even, we as youth ministers and ministers at the church have really wrestled with what is the appropriate amount for us to be online. I mean, like we even acknowledged last week, we are presenting this, on social media, right? And so to say, like, okay, are we feeding the beast by being online? Are we going to a place where people already are? And for right now, and I don't know where we'll always be, right now we still find some usefulness in this,
Yeah.
but we still acknowledge those dangers. And so there's that tension that we feel corporately, but then also, like Catherine was saying, just, for our daughter, but as individuals, where is that balance between, and this can be such a buzzword, but relevancy, am I up to date on what's going on? Do I understand when people are talking about these things? Do I even get the concept, right? So having a little bit of familiarity versus, I may have begun to be influenced in a way that I am not even aware of, and that like, this has control over me and not me over it, because I think that can happen. And that's a little what we talked about last week, is that how subtle that is, because again, if I'm posting stuff and then for some reason one of my posts gets a ton of likes and then my next post doesn't, if the moment that starts to sink in and I start thinking, okay, what can I do to get another one of those that had a lot, right? Instead of, am I sharing this with friends and family, right, to preserve relationship? Am I posting something that actually is trying to point people toward Christ? Am I doing, rather than doing those things? It's very subtle, right? And even, we're speaking from a ministerial context, right? Even churches can get into that, right? Rather than presenting truth, are we going to present things that are popular, that get a lot of likes, that get a lot of attention?
So kind of practically what I hear y'all saying is examining your motive in posting again, like we talked about last week. Before you post something, why am I posting this? What's my motivation in doing it? And then also I think putting parameters around how you are using social media and using it for good purposes, and honestly not just good moral purposes, but using it for Christ. And Christian mentioned this earlier, and I think it's true. I think you can go and you can look at someone's Instagram or you can look at their Facebook and you can see very quickly what is important to them. Yeah. And I was convicted of this last week. The most important thing to me is Christ. You don't see that on my Instagram. You're not seeing bad stuff. Now, given I'm posting stuff on the youth account a lot, but if you look at my Instagram, you think that my world revolves around my kids, that is the most important thing to me. If you look at some people's Facebook profiles, you'll find the same thing, or you'll find that they are most concerned with politics, or they are most concerned with their kids' sports, or, you can just see, it's just very evident on our social media what is important to us. And I think we have to take a step back, look at what we're posting and say, wow, does this reflect my priority of Christ being number one?
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, and this might not be true also, but I think that most people can see that what social media is an extension of self in some way, whether it's truthful or not. You are spreading who you are out to all of these different out in these different outlets, and we can try and use it though as a tool for exploration of who we are, and especially in these middle school, high school years when you are exploring your identity and finding out who you are and what your interests are and how you can contribute to the kingdom and to the world. Doing that face-to-face and physically can be difficult, right? But when you are doing that online, when you have the literal world open to you to explore, that's where it can get dangerous. That's where you can dig yourself deep into a hole that it's going to be harder to get out of this digital one than it would be here face to face, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that veil, the screen, right? It's so much safer to say whatever, to do whatever, when I'm doing, when I'm using a keyboard and looking at a screen, or on my phone versus, and this is so funny. We started noticing this trend, I don't know, probably 10 years ago. But, as youth ministers, oftentimes kids approach us and saying, hey, I need to get something off my chest, or I need some advice, or these kinds of things. And it started migrating from, I'm going to tell you face to face, to where I'm going to tell you something, pretty big via text, right? And so it's like, it's actually, legally, like I have in writing what you've just said, like from I have a digital footprint. But again, it's that safety that like I can present this. One thing, sorry, just that you were kind of making me think about as you were saying this, trying to keep this in the practical terms. One thing that I think that we have an opportunity to do when we've been steeped in social media for a while is to use it reflectively and to kind of talk a little bit about what y'all are talking about. One guy that came and spoke at a parenting conference a long time ago, Brad McCoy, said this, and I said this earlier, but he just said, he's talking about priorities, finding out somebody's priorities. He said, you don't have to tell me your priorities. He said, I'll follow you around for 3 days, see how you spend your time, see how you spend your money, and I'll tell you your priorities, right? And so like Catherine, how you were saying, yes, Christ is the most important thing in my life. Is that expressed in my social media? So really, there is this kind of reflective possibility that we have when we have been steeped in social media for a while to go back and look. And there's this term that we see in the Bible sometimes, talk about idol worship, and we tend to attribute that to a figure.
Right.
But really all it is assigning ultimate value to something, right? Just worth-ship. And so when we go back and we say, what are the things that I freaked out about, right? Because usually it's the really important things, because like if somebody's dogging on the Longhorns, like, yeah, I cheer for him, but like, okay, whatever, you're an idiot, where I am for going for the Longhorns because they lose all the time.
Go Wildcats.
But yeah,
Scratch them.
But like, but if it's something much closer to my heart, right? That's when I'm gonna start getting like worked up and gonna respond. And man, am I responding when somebody's like, getting close to, offending my family or ultimately my father, or am I freaking out when somebody's like, getting up in my grill about my politics, right? We've seen that a lot in the past couple of years, and it's, and again, is politics good or bad? No, it's just a thing, right? It can be used for a lot of good. But if that's the only time I'm really getting worked up, man, that might be something that's really important to me, right? And so we have this opportunity, or as Catherine was saying, like, is loving your family bad? Of course not. It's good. But assigning ultimate value to it, man, you're going to crush your family. You're going to crush yourself if that's like where your hope is found. And so I think one of the tools that we have at our disposal when we look at our social media is to say, man, where am I putting my heart? Where am I placing my heart?
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
I
really
think
good. I was trying to write down also some practical things. So I think using it for self-reflection, asking why you're posting. Also on the other end of that, not just reflecting on what you think about your social media, but like turning it around and thinking about what is a person that doesn't know anything about me thinking when they see this. How are they observing this? What am I communicating through this? And not just what you're posting, but how you are interacting with people. Are you interacting in a Christ-like way in comments? Are you interacting with kindness, with love, with a desire for peacemaking, that kind of thing. So I think observing your behaviors on social media, not just what you post, but how you interact with people as a Christ follower, that has to be something that it's for some reason people think that following Christ means you're nice when you're face to face and you can be mean online.
Right.
And that's not true.
Yeah, I think, if people know who you follow when you're face to face, but they're unsure when they're on social media, there's an imbalance there. And the same goes the other way. If people know who you follow on social media, but then person to person, they're unsure, there's an imbalance there. And so we have to be intentional, like Mallory was talking about, sharing really who we are and who our connections are on social media, and not try and extend out there. Not try and extend too far into a place where really it means nothing. It becomes a meaningless thing. Because there are a lot of pitfalls and a lot of, like we were talking about last week, incompleteness to social media. But I think there are ways, like we've been talking about today, where we can use it to be meaningful. Not the whole picture, not everything, but that can point to Christ, that can point to our faith in Christ, that can point to other people and say, hey, come and follow me as I follow Christ.
That's good. I also think when you're looking at the idea of following Christ as it pertains to social media, this idea of like you being different on social media, not being as connected there, because I think that's a healthier way to be, but also posting things that aren't going to get the most likes. And there's I know this is small, but there's an amount of suffering that happens, I think, with people when they don't get enough likes or when they are disconnected because they're not as engaged on social media. But I feel like if you are suffering for the sake of Christ, that's what we're called to do. And if your suffering is just, I didn't get as many likes as I want because I went for the post that was going to glorify Christ instead of the post that was going to glorify me. I'm picking Christ over myself. I'm not going to get as many likes for this post. That hurts. But my goodness.
Well done, faithful servant.
Yes, people are dying for the gospel in other places. And so if we can die to ourselves a little bit on social media and suffer for Christ in that way, we should do that as believers. We should be able to do that.
Yeah, and I think, as you've been talking through that list, I think also asking the question, would I be disappointed if this post doesn't get a lot of likes? And if there's, just being real honest with your heart. There are times where I tell clients, hey, counseling clients, hey, you can lie to me and you can fool me, but like, what have you done for you or for me? That doesn't help either of us. I'm not going to like you more because you've lied to me, but I think, man, like we talked about last week, we're good at self-deception, right? And we can tell ourselves, oh no, my identity's not in this. But again, who are you helping if you're lying to yourself in that moment? If you, to take real stock and say, okay, this post that I'm about to post, am I hoping that I will get lots of likes and all that kind of stuff? And if so, is it possible I've handed my heart over to some people that can damage it, right? Or falsely inflate it, rather than I'm handing my heart to Christ who keeps it safe. And then social media is just a thing, right? It's a way to keep in touch with friends. It's a way to encourage people. It's a way to, maybe do some of these things, but my heart isn't there.
Yeah, I think it just all comes back to intentionality, and I think social media is a very image-driven place. And I think so many people's decisions revolves around all of these people. And are you posting things because you want to share a piece of your life with people that you love, or are you posting things to be liked, or are you following trends because you genuinely like them and you want to enjoy that, or are you following trends because that's what's popular? And like so much of that is just driven by image, and it keeps us from living authentically, and that I hate it. I hate that.
That's so true.
And it's just a more fragile existence. When we compare the two, again, I just Christ is the one that says, I accept you, now follow me, right? It's not like, if you follow me perfectly, then I'll accept you. And I think social media is just the exact opposite of that, right? If you follow the rules of social media, if you wear the coolest stuff, if you go to the coolest parties, if you do all the right things, pick the right music, all that kind of stuff.
Post the right
then
things.
we'll accept you.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the exact opposite to the gospel. And again, the pain and the inauthentic life that opens us up to, that's not what we were created for. We were created for, I love you because I love you, not because of what you do or what you bring to this.
Right.
Yeah.
So practically speaking, how long have we been going? Is it time to wrap it up?
Yeah, we got a couple of 5 minutes.
Okay. A couple of 5 minutes.
A couple of
10?
5.
About 10 minutes.
No, like 5. Like 5. A couple of up to 5. So 1, 2,
There was
3,
a
or
hyphen.
5.
A
That was
couple of
hyphenated.
5.
You've heard that before. A couple of 5.
No.
You haven't?
No.
I like how you asked the camera. Camera currently
I'm asking
answering.
you, audience on YouTube.
Mom.
My social
Mom,
media followers.
have you said that before? I feel like I've heard you or Dad's probably said that before. I'm coming back on Friday.
I can guarantee.
Wait, this isn't a phone.
No, I can guarantee though my dad has never watched this, nor will he.
Does he know what YouTube is?
No, he probably does, but my mom does it out of pity. Like, oh, there's my son and my daughter-in-law. But my
Mallory
dad's
said
like,
she
"Ah."
watched it.
I've watched
She's
2.
our loyal listener that we're always saying hi to.
part of 2.
Thank you. Thank you, Mallory.
Yeah.
Okay, but practically, this is what I was going to say. I saw this as a really good idea that somebody, instead of setting time limits on your phone because people just turn that off.
Yeah, turn that off.
Setting boundaries with yourself and saying, I'm only going to check social media on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Or I'm only going to check it on Saturday nights. Or and I mean, obviously these are adults doing that. So I feel like teenagers, you will probably set more time limit or longer time limits for yourself. But I think setting those mental boundaries to where you're like, yeah, I'm not going to get on it right now. I think that could be helpful. And I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things Andrew mentioned too, just about coming home from retreats and telling somebody what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the things that's helpful with that idea is even having some friends. You know, I'm thinking of girls' Bible study. You know, or some people that you love and that love you. It's not like a judgy thing. But you can just say, hey, I'm going to try to do this. So if you see me on there a bunch, just ask me how I'm doing. You know, giving somebody permission to do that.
That's good.
One thing that I did practically that helped me a lot until COVID, because we had to be able to post some stuff. But I just deleted like Facebook because I'm 42. I deleted the app off my phone. And so it wasn't as accessible. And so if I wanted to get on, it was like a couple more steps of logging in on a browser, you know. So I had to like really want/need as much as you can need social media. I really had to have to get on versus just mindlessly like, you know, I'm waiting in line at, you know, the grocery store. What's going, you know, and looking. So
Any other
Yeah.
thing y'all can think of?
One thing that
Deleting it.
I really liked that Luis talked about once was he set a rule for himself of whenever he felt the impulse to check social media, that he would read a chapter of scripture first.
That's really
He
good.
put both apps right next to each other so that whenever he would go to Instagram or Twitter or whatever, he would be intentional about reading scripture first, so that refocused him. And so sometimes that would lead him all the way off of social media and not have to check it. Or when he did, it was for other purposes than just boredom, but it added intentionality to, okay, I've centered myself in Christ here after reading, so I'm going to look at other people and I'm going to try and share myself through the lens of Christ.
Ooh,
So-
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really good. Anything else, Malpal?
So I've been taking psych courses at CCU, and recently we had kind of a whole discussion on what like mindfulness and what that looks like and how to kind of like ground yourself. And this is like very similar to what you were talking about, but honestly, reading scripture is like a better idea. But basically, it was any time that I think, I mean, I don't know, I experienced this. I will like reach for my phone and like open it up and then not really know what I was like doing on there. I just like open, you know.
Habit, yeah.
Yeah, it's like an impulse. And so somebody was talking about this in my class and just talked about like whenever you feel this like need to reach for your phone, sit there and like actually be mindful about it and like are you being intentional with like what are you going to do with this? And being mindful, but honestly like reading scripture is like a better idea.
Yeah, and
Well, no, that's
But that
no, I really
mindfulness,
like
But
that
those go
too.
hand
It's
in
basic
hand.
asking looking at your phone, before you hit the button, say, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, even, and honestly too, just quick aside, even saying it out loud.
Yeah.
That's one of the things they talk to, like, people working through any addiction. Like, hey, I'm about to. It's saying it out loud because it slows you down, and speaking it slows your brain down. Then I'm about to get on social media because.
Yeah. And you'll look like a total buffoon when you're with all your buds in the circle. Hey, I'm about to get on social media. Hey, what the heck, man?
We're at a concert.
That is a pet peeve of mine when you're standing around in a circle and like everybody's looking down at their phone and we're literally in a circle able to have conversations and we can't because
That's when you just want to say, no.
You should do that.
yeah.
This is
better.
instantaneous communication.
This is better. This is better.
It's even faster than online.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Thanks,
So
Mal.
Yeah.
meow.
Thanks for having me here for the.
We flew
4
her
people
down,
that
by the
will
way.
follow.
We did,
This,
yeah.
we have a really big budget.
We have a really big
I came
podcast
down from
budget.
Colorado
Yeah.
for this moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For this
Good.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we
Scott
just,
for donating the tickets.
right.
Yeah.
No, we
Melissa.
actually just asked her 30 minutes ago.
No.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half ago.
Well, that's good. We'll see and hear and whatever next time. I
Yes.
want to talk next time about, we've been talking about the bad and the good of social media, but maybe next week we talk about what happens if we don't have it in the olden days.
In the
Oh, like
olden
what?
There were days before social media.
We did say that we would talk about that. I could tell you what it was like back in the day. That was my grandma voice.
You want to finish us off with that?
Mm-mm.